Welcome to the last tutorial. Today we will go over post-processing, which is a very important step that most people just miss to do. In an optimal situation, we wouldn't need it, because like the render output would already look gorgeous, and well, we wouldn't need to fix anything, but sometimes for artistic purposes and sometimes even for cleaning up mistakes, we need post-processing to really make most of the images look better. So, I am starting with showing you some of my own examples, because my renders don't always turn out great as well, and I need to tweak some things. The first one over here is the Halloween one, which has a very strong change. This is the render output, and now this is the final image that I used, and you can really see. Let's switch back. I changed a lot of the colors, not really the shape, or I didn't distort it, which is a possibility that I don't really use at the moment. But I changed a lot of the colors. You can really see that. The island, the tropical island, very subtle changes. Just cranked up the colors a bit, which made it feel a bit brighter and more colorful, which is, yeah, nicer. The Naples scene that I did changed really a lot. Like, look at this. This looks almost sad, like depressing. But you know, changing up some colors, having some blooming light in there, it really helps a lot. Next one, the ships. Again, a very subtle change. Like, you barely notice it. It is like removing some kind of fog, because the colors weren't strong enough, which creates this effect. But it just looks better after it. Even if it's a subtle change, it makes your image, look great instead of like decent. This one, really heavy post-processing. Like, look at this. This is the render output with all the fog, and then boom, the light gets really strong. It might feel too strong, but I think it was right to do this for artistic purposes in this case, to really brighten it up to the limit. Yeah, and that's it. So we can do post-processing in two different ways. First one is direct in Blender, which we will do first, and then I will show you my post-processing workflow in GIMP, because I just feel like it goes a bit faster and has the tools that I just need and want to have. So let's have a look at the tools that Blender offers us for post-processing. First of all, there's of course the compositor, but I first want to look on all the other tools that we have. Well, first of all, of course, we can make the background transparent, and we can also change the Gaussian, which essentially reduces this anti-aliasing a bit, so you can make pixel perfect graphics and that sort of thing. Sometimes useful. I use it quite a bunch in the last days, because I was creating essentially pixel art. Yeah, have a look at that if you're interested into that sort of thing. Yeah, of course, the compositor is a big part, but also let's go to this render tab. We have passes. These are normally clapped in. And Rusty Wright pointed out that you can actually use the mist layer instead of the Z buffer for better results for the fog. So have a look at that. That really helps. I tried it and it is awesome. You can also use all these other interesting information that I didn't play around with yet, but well, just give it a go, experiment. Maybe you will find something out that is really useful and handy. So these passes are really important. Yeah, that's it. Oh, this material tab are really, really cool. If you want to do a quick clay render, which I, for example, did for this train. Let me show that to you. It is somewhere in here, I think. Yeah, over here. Which is just a render with a simple diffuse material to show off the geometry. You know? If you made a cool thing, you sometimes just want to show the geometry. And you can go to this material tab in the scene and select any material, and it will replace all the materials in your scene with that certain material. It is a really fast way to just create, yeah, a simple clay render. And then there's the scene tab where the cool stuff actually happens. I will ignore this, that's not so important. You can change the camera over here. That is being used for rendering, pretty important. Units might be important if you want to construct something or make it really photorealistic. Then units is obviously a nice thing to have. But color management, let's talk about this. This is really, really cool. Normally it's on default and it just looks fine. You know, it looks like the way you rendered it. But there's more options. The probably most interesting one is film, because this one essentially emulates like a physical film. You can see it looks cool. It looks really cool. Like this was default, which looks, yeah, you know, like typical Blender render, but film. It makes it yeah, in a weird way. It looks really cool. Then you can of course change the exposure, like to 0.1 if it's a bit too dark for your taste. Also the gamma. No, that is weird. Yeah, you can tweak those things to make your image have the correct brightness overall. And then there's this look, and this is really, really awesome. There are like dozens of different films that have different styles. Like let's pick one. Let's pick the Kodak one. I don't know what this does. Colors look different. You see? Let's pick a different one. And whoa, this is very reddish, and it still looks cool. You know, it's like a filter that is being applied instantly. You can also hit Control Alt, hover your mouse over this field, then just scroll through them. And just look at all these styles, and maybe you find something that makes your render look way cooler. It will distort your colors and brightness and everything, but sometimes it gives really interesting results. So yeah, just play around with that. Let's see if we can, yeah, this is like a pretty normal one. Also, you can use curves. I will explain a bit more in detail when we get into GIMP what these do, but essentially they are the same in GIMP and Blender, and you can just tweak some things. For example, the brightness, how that goes, or could add greenish tone to everything that is very bright. Yeah, it does work. But yeah, I will go over these a bit more in detail. in GIMP. Audio, okay, you can, yeah, if I don't do animation, so it doesn't matter to me personally. And yeah, that's it for the non-compositor stuff. Really cool. Check out this film emulation. Gives gorgeous results. Yeah, just try it out. So let's go to the node editor. Go to scene. Oh, it's already in scene. Here we can try this mist layer. Like, you enable it here, and then you just use it instead of the Z buffer. Really easy to use. Let's actually go to compositing view. Okay, there we go. And now there's so much you can do. Let's go over some of them. Let's see. We have color correction, which is interesting. It is like very similar to what you have over here. What is even cooler is, which one was it? Color balance is a really interesting one. Of course, you can change certain parts of your model. Like this one is mainly for the for the darker parts, I suppose. So you could make that, let's say, very bluish, and the bright ones are very yellowish. It looks awful because it's way too much what I did here, but yeah. Like if we bridge this over, you can see the difference. It's just a way to change the colors a bit. This is like the bright spots, the middle, and the dark ones, I suppose. I'm not sure if it's correct, but it's how I tend to use it. What else do we have? We have filters. Blur, of course. Really useful. Can just blur your image. Like, let's set it to 10 at 10 to really show it has an effect. Yeah. Pretty easy to use. Glare. Where is it? Yeah, glare is another really interesting one because you can make these sort of strokes that make your scene look shiny, I suppose. Yeah, but if you want to learn about that, try to search for a specific tutorial, because the compositor offers just way too much. I can't really go over it in a single video. I think that's it for Blender itself. But we still have GIMP in front of us, so let's look into that. So this is GIMP. This is a free software, open source as well. You can just go to the internet, download it, and use it. It's quite similar to Photoshop in some parts, but also a bit different. Yeah, it's just an image editing program. I suppose you can do most of these tasks in Photoshop as well, but no, I prefer the open source software because it's cheaper. So, few things I want to show you. First one is color and brightness and contrast. Sorry, this is on German, but you will probably figure it out. So this is brightness and contrast. Let's make it a bit brighter because it looks a bit dark, and then also crank up the contrast a bit. and I think it looks better. If you're not sure whether it looks better or not, go over here and just like do a Control Z backwards and forwards. I think it looks better because it reduces a bit of the contrast. Just compare it directly, and if it looks better to you, it's probably better. And then there's this tab, which is color saturation and brightness. Yeah. And this is really handy. Of course, you can change all of them. Like, whoop, just give it a different color. And I normally do this for saturation. I just look at the image and see, it could use a bit more saturation, so set it at 20 and then hit OK to apply it. But I want to make more changes. I just want to do it step by step, so I normally apply it and then do something else. But let's say you want this green part to be blue. So you could say green, and then we just change the color, but you see, that doesn't work. You can use this one to use a bit of the surrounding tones. I'm surprised that this works, because this looks really yellowish to me. Normally this sort of color is maybe even already yellow. You just need to try and see which one is being applied. So let's make this blue, if we can. Okay, let's apply it, then keep working on it till we can make a really nice bluish tone. And you see it looks a bit fuzzy, so you can also change the surrounding tones a bit. To make it look more similar. Okay. Now we made it blue. We changed the color. You can also do this by, lasso selecting like a certain part and then changing only that if you're not fine with the color. But normally I change all the colors of the same tone in a scene, because my color composition is already pretty good, but sometimes a certain color needs some tweaking, like a green, or normally it's the greens that need some tweaking. Okay, that's cool. Now to these curves. Go to color and curves. It's the same as in Blender. We have one for value, one for red, green, and blue. Also for alpha, but I won't use that. That's for texture creation and that sort of thing. Don't really need it here. So, what is this? Let's explain it with the value. On the left-hand side, you see the new value, and on the bottom you see the value that the original image had. So what this curve now says is that black in the original image is also black in the new image, and the same goes for white. But we could invert these, which would give us an inversion of these colors. But, that doesn't help us. But let's say this white in the background is too bright for me. Then I can set a new spot by just clicking and dragging this down. Because then it changes only the really, really bright tones. Because these down here are barely affected. And can easily change the background without really changing the color of the locomotive if you don't go too far, you know. And that is something I quite often use. If I see regions where the contrast is too high or where something is just a bit off, could also make the train darker or brighter. This looks actually quite interesting. Yeah, you can just use it for tweaking the brightness instead of using brightness and contrast, because it is more differentiated in some way. Okay, and then there's red, green, and blue, and it is essentially the same. What I want to show you is a pretty simple effect, which is making the dark tones bluish and the bright tones yellowish. That is an effect that is used in some Instagram filters, and it generally looks quite good very fast, but it's just an example, you know? It's just one effect that you could do. So let's move this point up. This says that the bluish tones in the applied image should be more than in the image that it was from. And you can immediately see that especially the darker tones get a bit of a bluish touch. If you then move blue down over here, you can see that the white ones get a bit more yellowish. That is because reducing blue is essentially like making more yellow, because yellow is the opposite of blue. Just need to think about that a bit, but it makes sense. Then we hit OK, and we can also like check what it changed. Can barely see the blue effect, but you definitely see the yellow. Yeah, that is an interesting effect, and that is how you use curves in a nutshell. And the last effect I'm going to show you is a vignette. And a vignette is essentially making the border of the image darker than the center, to like draw the attention really to the center, to the object in the center, which is really good for images like this, where you have just an object in the center. So I will use the ellipse select, draw a nice ellipse over this, and go to selection, invert, selection, blend out. Then I use like 500 or something in that category. Then we can go to color, brightness, and turn down the brightness. You can see if we do it really a lot, changes really a lot. The key is to make it a bit more subtle, like not there, but also not like here where you don't see it. Just use a very subtle effect. I think this should do quite well. And yeah, let's see the difference. Yeah, it really does make a difference. Vignette really improves the look of your image normally. Yeah, that's it. That was a lot of content, I suppose. A lot of things for you to think about. Just try to fool around with these tools and see which one fit into your workflow. Of course, you're not going to use all of them always, but yeah, you know, like maybe a nice vignette now and then, and yeah, just use it. Yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for, well, watching the entire series, because this was the first long series I did up until now. Tell me what you think of it, tell me what I should do better next time, and, well, I hope we will see us soon in the new tutorials. See you then.